Silicon Valley pitches every product launch as a step towards utopia. Downloading consciousness into computers will solve mortality. Colonizing Mars will save humanity from an exhausted Earth. Artificial intelligence will eliminate labor, and cryptocurrency will fix finance. We treat these innovations as patches designed to fix a broken reality. This is the version 2.0 problem. It is the societal assumption that our current existence is a corrupted beta test. The operating system of life contains suffering, injustice, and death. Instead of dealing with reality, we tell ourselves a perfect patch is in the pipeline. We live our entire lives in beta. It's a release valve for existential pressure. We acknowledge things are comprehensively wrong while insisting the fix is scheduled. By treating the present as a temporary waiting room, we successfully avoid dealing with it. We outsource our hope to an update that mathematically cannot arise, because each new innovation simply creates new problems that require another update. This software update mentality did not originate in Silicon Valley. It is actually the oldest narrative structure in human history. The tech industry just gave it a new costume. In Buddhist eschatology, there is a promised figure named Maitreya. He is the future Buddha, a scheduled arrival meant to restore the Dharma, the cosmic law and order, when it has been forgotten. Maitreya is the original version 2.0 of enlightenment. Every major tradition has one. Judaism has the Mashiach to rebuild the temple. Christianity built its theology around a second coming. Islam waits for the Mahdi to establish justice. Even Hinduism anticipates Kalki riding a white horse to reset the cosmic odometer. The genius of this system is entirely in the timing. The Savior is always coming, but never here. You are told that things are broken and someone is coming to fix them. Until then, you simply maintain your faith, endure the present, and wait. The Enlightenment tried to abandon religion, but it kept the exact same narrative architecture. Instead of waiting for a literal messiah, society started waiting for progress, the idea that history is a linear march toward perfect rationality and prosperity. Marxism promised that the mechanics of history itself would serve as the savior. The math was supposedly solid. The class struggle would inevitably resolve, mathematically guaranteeing a communist utopia. Capitalism makes an identical promise, just with different vocabulary. It tells us the invisible hand of the market and endless technological innovation will eventually optimize scarcity entirely out of existence. This culminates in high modernism. This is the arrogant belief that scientific tools meant for measuring mass and velocity can eventually be used to solve all the mysteries of human consciousness and meaning. Institutional science became a new pulpit. Look at how certain physicists discuss the existence of God with the exact confidence they use to discuss cosmology. They demand faith that the universe can be perfectly mapped and controlled, dismissing philosophical dissent as primitive ignorance. The religious believer at least admits they are operating on faith. The modernist insists they are being entirely rational, while practicing blind faith in an inevitable systemic self-correction. It is bad faith disguised as objectivity. But high modernism has a fatal physical flaw. The second law of thermodynamics dictates that closed systems inevitably move from order to disorder. The universe has a direction, and it is toward heat death and dissipation, not perfect optimization. When Friedrich Nietzsche declared God is dead, he wasn't celebrating a victory for science. It was a horrified realization. He recognized that underneath our stories of progress lies a cosmos grinding toward disorder, completely indifferent to human narratives. Contrast the modernist arrogance with authentic scientific humility. Geoffrey Hinton helped build the foundational systems for artificial intelligence, then stepped back and stated he wasn't sure they could be controlled. He built a world-altering tool and admitted he could not predict the outcome. True epistemology, the study of how we know what we know, requires defining the strict limits of your tools. Insisting that a system will inevitably solve the human condition is not science, it is propaganda. There is collateral damage to this obsession with version 2.0. It destroys something called Metis. Metis is practical, embodied local knowledge, like a farmer reading the soil or a craftsman learning physical building techniques through thousands of hours of practice. It cannot be abstracted into a dataset. High modernism views Metis as a threat. Because this knowledge cannot be scaled, measured in a lab, or plugged into an algorithm, the modernist framework dismisses it as obsolete and primitive. This systematically erases local wisdom. Vernacular agriculture is replaced with industrial monoculture. Traditional building techniques are lost to standardized concrete. We force universal models onto specific places, and they often fail. Metis is dangerous to the version 2.0 mindset. It demands that work and meaning happen here and now, in the physical body, in the specific dirt you are standing on. It refuses to defer to the future. So if progress isn't guaranteed, if the universe is dissolving into entropy and Maitreya isn't coming, how do we avoid paralyzing despair? The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre offered a posture called radical freedom. It is the terrifying burden of knowing there is no external salvation. There is no script. You are entirely responsible for your choices. Yet the version 2.0 problem is so seductive that even Sartre couldn't resist it. He eventually sought comfort in Marxism, trying to reconcile his belief in personal freedom with the promised inevitability of a communist utopia. To adopt a true existential posture means intentionally building meaning while fully acknowledging the ground beneath you is quicksand. You make choices knowing the foundation is broken and provisional. Think about the structural logic of Bach's The Art of Fugue. It is technically circular. It doesn't build to a triumphant climax or offer catharsis. It is a cyclic, recursive pattern that you can play until you die. That is how existence actually works. The tension never releases. The journey never completes. The beauty exists entirely in the practice, in the cyclic return, in the act of doing the work itself. The act of making things, whether it is art, a craft, or a local community, is the honest rebellion against a universe that promises no final patch. You build inside the broken version, knowing whatever you make is temporary. The music continues, and Maitreya doesn't arrive. So abandon the wait for salvation. Identify your own unscalable practice, your own Maitreya, and start building in the ruins. Because doing the work itself is the only resolution we will ever get.